Hello there! I'm submitting a scientific report in video form that objectively proves how one can depict good relationship dynamics in fiction, especially in the form of self-insert romantic media. Yes, I'm making a video about how I've been reading this amazing light smut I found online genuinely for the storyline, and I'm going to prove it to you, because, well, it's my video, and you're the one watching it. The story of Naoto Hachiouji, aka Senpai, and Hayase Nagatoro, or just Nagatoro. We're about to discuss this relatively PG shonen-style romance manga / anime where these two aren't dating. No, of course not. Why would you even say that?
What? Hey, you! I am not her boyfriend!
Isn't that your boyfriend right next to you? He's just a boy I keep around to mess with for fun.
This is a self-insert romance / power fantasy story specifically aimed at adolescent boys. You know, like all anime ever seems to be. Except when it's not. But it's also a meta-analysis about the self-insert genre itself, as the main character is literally the author's self-insert. Anime is truly an amazing medium of infinite possibilities, but still largely always seems to be just cartoons about a boring boy who gets all the girlfriends, usually after getting transported into some medieval fantasy land. But still, even within that framework, there are some very involved and popular young male self-insert fantasy manga / anime stories, like Attack on Titan and Evangelion, that aren't just smut for lonely boys. There are many other videos about the problem of the male gaze in the medium of anime and manga, and so this video won't be about the genre as a whole, but if there is demand, I will happily try to make a video about the trappings and disappointment of the shonen medium's bad handling of female characters and the exploitation of their agency over their bodies. Even from a straight male perspective, this can get kind of old. Kill la Kill is a good example of a story that deconstructs the idea of titillating so-called fan service while making nudity actually an important, nuanced plot point.
And prance around in my true identity! Ugh! I'm really a splendid naked officer of Nudist Beach, waging an all-out war against the scourge of life fibers!
But again, perhaps another time. This video will be about the story of how a childish and sophomoric humor and male-focused romantic fantasy turns into an actually deep and heartwarmingly wholesome relationship between two adolescents as they overcome both of their individual insecurities and issues of self-sabotage, and grow together over the course of their high school career and, in the manga, even beyond. The story starts with the framework of a manic pixie dream girl archetype, except actually it's more of a manic pixie nightmare girl, come to torment the male protagonist. Even though she is an athletic sporty type with many trophies and awards, she secretly has a thing for dweebs who just so happen to represent the target audience of lonely, but hopefully not full-on incel type guys. The ones afraid of women, but who don't totally resent all women on Earth just for the crime of having agency and denying them access to their bodies, especially in high school. Some girls can be mean just like anyone else, which the story shows can be an issue.
Yes, get it away!
You know what, though? Here, check that out.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, 100%.
Don't let them get to you!
But not just for men. Loneliness is an epidemic that affects everyone, and more as time goes on. This is a story about growth for both of the leads, and how through each other and their individual and often overlapping support networks and friends, it can help teach young and even older readers and watchers how they might be able to talk to and befriend the opposite sex by seeing and learning from both Naoto and Nagatoro's mistakes and eventual triumphs by learning confidence and communication. Skills that not only bring them together in their relationship, but also individually help them in their own lives and on their own time. While it's actually a very cute story about two people getting to know each other over their time together, it's definitely one of those it gets better as it gets further along type things. Even though I personally enjoyed it from the moment I found it, going back and rewatching/reading the first few seasons and chapters can be kind of cringy in a less silly and more of a are you serious kind of way. But as it goes on, the true cringe is replaced with silly/cute cringe and fan service that is more than just the typical fruit hanging solo you have to bend over to pick it up, to actually kind of clever and cute, as well as some of the in-jokes between the two do start from the very beginning. While I personally love it, this isn't fine art here. Anime is still going to be anime. You know how it is. What sets Nagatoro and Naoto, aka Senpai's relationship story, apart from most in this genre, is the work put in to actually bring dimension and life to not only the self-insert, who usually has no personality so as to be projected upon, but also the typically female object of desire. From the beginning, Hayase Nagatoro is shown to have her own personality, obviously in the form of manic pixie spunkiness, which, unlike most manic pixies, comes in the form of bullying the protagonist rather than an endless optimism and motivation for them. No, she is much more deep and involved, has likes and dislikes, insecurities, self-sabotaging habits, and hints of life outside of the male protagonist that doesn't even concern him.
First met her, she was terrible.
How long have you known her?
That's none of your business. Leave it alone.
Such that as the story develops, she is less of the object of desire and is actually a full-on protagonist, such that I would actually recommend this anime and story to femme anime fans, who might see themselves in Nagatoro and learn a little bit about relationships and themselves by seeing how she acts and reacts and exists as her own character with human flaws.
Finish your big comeback match. Ha!
You got this? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're being a little too optimistic.
Which can be learned from in the same way that mask-presenting anime fans can learn from the growth of Naoto/Senpai.
I'd say they turned out pretty good.
They did. You really put your heart into these. That looks like Hayase.
Who also has his own personality and quirks that make him less of an empty shell to more of a true character. Not so subtly based on the author themselves, but hey, write what you know, right? Both of them grow and mature throughout the series in a very real and human way, despite the heightened and exaggerated nature of the story and world, and of course the tropes and silliness that come with the manga and anime medium. Naoto learns to stand up for himself.
That is somebody's hard work! You hear me? So, quit making fun of it!
And Nagatoro learned how to express herself and her emotions through ways other than teasing and bullying, which can sabotage potential progress between them by not giving Naoto the space and chance to speak for himself, and even discouraging actions she would want him to make by taking things too far.
Loser! Feeling nostalgic? That's a likely story. You just wanted to lure me into the darkness so you could have your way with me, admit it.
That wasn't on my mind at all!
I should be screaming right now, after what you did.
I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh, really? You practically dragged me out here by force. You really were gonna do something sleazy, weren't you? Sleazy senpai, he's a virgin, but he's mega sleazy. You're a sleaze, you're a sleaze.
Seriously?
You know, if there's somewhere you want to go with someone, you could always try asking them. They might say yes.
While Naoto/Senpai learns how to get out of his own damn head and stop taking everything so seriously and just go for it.
Take her on a date!
Date!
Hayase Nagatoro comes from a very competitive family and has an older brother and sister who teased and bullied her and probably had relationships that Nagatoro saw through this lens, which distorted and impacted her view of romantic relationships and how they work, along with growing up around a lot of manga and competitive environments being an athlete herself.
Yeah? Guess I won't hold back then.
That's the spirit. Now, give me everything you got, Senpai!
It's easy for her to cover her feelings in teasing and bullying and make fun of Senpai for having lewd and perverted thoughts because he's a dweeby loner, even though she's the one who makes the vast majority of sexual comments and actions.
Think you have what it takes to beat me? You do want to learn my secrets, don't you? You're just dying to know my cup size. My hip size, maybe? Huh?
No thanks!
something even more pervy? How deep does your depravity go, Senpai? Come on now, don't be shy.
Again, most likely coming from being the youngest sibling in a family of competitive people who show their love through teasing, giving her a distorted view of how boys think and how to get their attention.
You know you want to.
I brought you kids some juice.
She definitely saw us!
What are you doing in here? Get out!
What's wrong? I just thought you kids might like something to drink. You both seem so thirsty.
Similar to an issue impacting a lot of youth of today, of both genders, where they are learning more about sex and relationships from porn rather than from classrooms and trustworthy role models. Naoto, or Senpai, on the other hand, being more of a loner and feeling left out growing up, though he does have some friends, was constantly being picked on and ended up retreating into himself and his art, which has impacted his understanding of relationships as well, being that this is literally a meta-story about a manga writer who actually started out in hentai, which is anime porn for those who are not familiar, putting themselves into a more PG-13 style story to play out a fantasy of finding love rather than just plain old sexual gratification. This unabashed meta-framework of a loner artist who creates a world where their stand-in gets love and affection that they themselves would like without just being straight-up porn.
So what I'm picking up is... the Siegfried guy is basically your self-insert, right?
Actually provides a more helpful guide to others who find themselves empathizing with the author/reader insert of Senpai, and a place to learn about relationship dynamics that is more silly and helpful, while also being titillating, because it is focused on love and romantic connection rather than just simple sexual gratification, which can be harmful to developing minds, especially in young men who are taught that the only thing that matters is how quickly and how many girls you fuck in your life. Instead, glorifying and exemplifying what is actually fulfilling in life, which is genuine connection with others. Obviously romantically, but even platonically, as because this isn't a harem story, it also shows healthy examples of cross-sex relationships where the eponymous senpai has female friends who are never presented as anything other than just friends. No romantic interest whatsoever, just platonic friends. If you have trouble talking to girls, just try being friends with some of them who you aren't interested in, and this will help when it comes time to actually talking to your crush, and ones that you do find interesting.
Clue what she likes to do anyway. Never mind going on a date.
I've always wanted to see the penguins! 本当ずるなんだもんそういうとこなんだもん逃げないで頑張ってそのままぎゅっと
Hey! Hayase! The aquarium! Okay?
What the hell does okay mean?
I have no idea.
If you have something to say, suck it up and say it properly.
Speak your truth to her. It's the only way.
Would you like to go to the aquarium on our next day off? I actually did it!
What? Are you seriously asking me out on a date, you weirdo? In what world will they ever say yes? You are such a creeper! I'd like that. Senpai.
Holy crap, he asked her out!
It begins.